Yeah.
Floyd Mayweather, Devin Alexander, and whoever the fans want to see.
Yeah. Listen, I told you give them something visual, so you went ahead and made your own YouTube-based TV show. It's an array of IPAs and fighters on the road. Got a question? Put them in your comment section right below. Barbershop talk while you're sitting in your living room. Pacquiao, Mayweather, and we can't forget the brews. Coming to you live with the scoops like a ladle. Allow me to introduce the boxing round table. Yeah.
Rollo Jenkins, boxologist, Zone 6, Dre, BT Pound, 78 Fight News, Blood Boxing, Blood Fists, Boxing Beats and Rhymes, Female Boxing Fan, Carter J, Pull Counter, Joker Boxing, D Styles, the whole YTBC.
Yes, sir. All right. I got a little time on my hand. I've been extremely busy. You know how it is. I drop in, drop out. Okay, we can skip all the introductions on who I be and who I am. It is what it is. I just want to get in on this political conversation real quick. Yes, I know we do boxing and stuff like that, but I also like to talk about politics because it is political season. Didn't have too much time to be in the mix. Ain't too much going on in boxing outside of just the normal stuff. A couple of announcements. We'll get to those later. I got a little free space and I'm kind of limited on time now. So I just want to touch on something that's been kind of more interesting than boxing and sports as a whole and in general, and that's just politics. Been talking to a lot of the fellas behind the scenes. We always communicate, so we always in the loop. Even if we ain't on YouTube, we always building camaraderie, chopping it up. Me, Smoke, shout out to Phil Walker, Rollo Jenkins, Big Zo Money, new addition, Big Hill, the usual suspects, man. We're always chopping it up about politics, and it's that season in America. I mean, the national election is coming here soon. This ain't foreign territory for me. You've seen me drop a video on politics before, and you've heard us talk about politics before. So those who are interested in this kind of conversation, man, let's go ahead and let's cook. Well, I noticed that politics is the new sensation in YouTube. One thing I'm going to say that I noticed about YouTube and social media, man, is that everybody has found a way to monetize YouTube in some type of form or some type of fashion. Whether it be good, bad, or indifferent, that's up to you, and that's your opinion on how you interpret those, pieces of content that is put out there. You know what I'm saying? With all due respect. But I noticed it went from a couple of genres. It's just cool on the trajectory and the progression of YouTube and how it started. You got the sports run, the workout run that was happening. You had the conscious movement that was happening, and you've had the food run with the mukbangs and stuff like that. And you have a lot of people with the rap and the music game. And that run that's been on deck. But now seeing that most of the popular videos that comes through the algorithms or big time things, it's been social politics, whether it be the Red Pill guys and the Myron Gaines and the Fresh and Fit podcast, or the, late great, rest in peace to him, Kevin Samuels, the balloon pop thing that they got, the 20 versus 1, Candace Owens, Dr. Ben Umar Johnson, Cornel West, Dyson, Obama, Michelle, everybody in politics, Charlemagne the God, Stephen A. Smith is even converting over into talking politics a lot more here of late. And a lot of the political people such as Ben Shapiro and, Candace Owens, they're starting to cross over into a lot of the social spaces because there's a lot of politics that feed into socialization and social issues and social problems and social curiosities. But I'm going to say this, man. I always talk to my boy Rollo Jenkins and Smoke and Phil. My position is this: the Constitution of the United States is a well-written document. It's probably the most perfect document written, as it is probably second to the Ten Commandments, because it is specific in its nature and it is direct in its nature. And my position has always been that people that you plug into these systems are the one that can perverse or corrupt the system based on their hidden agendas outside of doing what is in the description in the scope of their job, right? If you're here to serve the people, then the best interest in the interest of the people should be served. You're getting paid to do that. And to be quite honest with you, it's probably to me, it's probably one of the greatest jobs and the easiest job that you can have. Only thing you're doing is just going out in the streets. You're building camaraderie with the public. You're checking out the environment. You're checking out your district, your county, your city, or your state if you're a mayor, a congressman, or if you're a governor, right? Or if you're a senator. Only thing you're doing is checking the pulse of the people and you're socializing. Probably one of the greatest jobs you can have. You don't even have to think. The only thing you have to do is just absorb information and then make it practical and apply that and communicate that through the engine of the political infrastructure that we have, through one of the three branches of government: lawmaking, law enforcement, law interpretation, the judicial, the executive, and the legislative branch. And then handle things at the local level, as far as your city, your county, your parish, or your borough, if you got that, at the state level. It's really not that hard or that difficult, okay? But people, like always, tend to always put their hands on things and corrupt shit. They tend to always find a way to make other people not like the system that's in hand or at hand or in play. It's just a common cycle of human trying to serve their best interests, whether you're man, woman, black, white, green, Asian, from the north, from the south, from the east, from the west. People inherently want to take the road less traveled and serve their best interests at heart, no matter what it is. You don't even have to bring that into politics. You just need to listen to what the people are saying and make it fit within the system. And a lot of things that take place that I don't like and that I see that is the corruption is with the human spirit, the human soul, the human ideology, the human mind. Now, this is not an indictment on humanity, but at the same time, it is what it is. We know what it is. We know people are self-serving. We know we all want to scratch an itch on a consistent basis, even if sometimes it's at the expense of ourselves, right? The reason you eat McDonald's is because it feels good, and you know that shit is not good for you. Okay? The reason you drink alcohol because it feels good, and you know this shit might not be good for you. And then we'll try to figure out a way to argue on how it is good for you, knowing that that's a possible lie, right? You know what I'm saying? You know, ain't nothing good gonna come out of McDonald's. Let's just keep it a buck. Let's use a low-level, non-controversial take and decision. McDonald's is not healthy for you. Neither or none of the fast foods. The food is not good. The food has been tainted. The food is pumped with a whole bunch of stuff, especially fast food. So that's an easy concept to grasp. Okay? Food is not good. So we tend to go ahead and serve ourselves because we like the taste of McDonald's and its fries or sweets, cakes, pies, Skittles, soda, Coke, Sprites, whatever it is you drink, knowing that it's not good for our bodies, or at least at minimum not ideal for our bodies. But we'll try to tend to justify why it is good for our bodies, why I get to do what I want. And that's good. That's absolutely good because that's a building point. I believe that your civil liberties begin where someone else's ends. I don't believe in your civil liberties being able to roll over into other people's personal and private space. I've already said this on numerous occasions. Like, it's some political matters that are just basic, private, common sense matters. Like, people shouldn't be getting rights based on their sexual preferences or their own sexual personal ideology. That's not even the government's business. And we get a lot of contradictions within the people in the public with themselves, because it's like, do you want the government to over encroach into your life, or do you want the government to fall back? And then we play this game back and forth where we don't want the police, but we want the police. We don't want the police telling us what to do, but we want the police telling other people what to do, and then the police to make sure they do what the fuck they supposed to do and keep people off your shit so you can enjoy your life. But we also don't. We also want the police to leave us the fuck alone and allow us to operate with impunity because we want to self-serve. So therefore, if the police don't do their job and being some type of force for you and what you think, then it's corrupt. But then if they come and impede on your liberties and do exactly what the police to do to others, then now it's corrupt and it's bullshit. It's the same way with the education. The institution of education is the same thing with the institution of marriage and relationships. It's the same thing with the institution of economics. Everybody wants money, 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 money. Okay, and then you got people who want to hate on people who getting money, money, money. Okay, it's a back and forth, annoying type of ideology of self-servants. So the system is always going to be broken as long as people want to keep self-serving. Politics and political infrastructure is not the place for you to plug in your own selfish ideologies and practices and self-indulgent. Politics is supposed to be for, hey, if you want to wear certain attire on the weekend, or you got certain practices on the weekends and, during your leisure and during your liberty time, absolutely fine. There's a space for that. Okay. But when we come down to these politics and we start coming down to Capitol Hill and to the chambers, of the commerce and, city hall meetings and town meetings, it's time to put that shit aside and think about the overall good of everybody, not just yourself. Bring your ideas to the table and the like-minded groups with you to see how can we best serve you, no matter how bizarre the ideology or the ideas may be in your opinion. It's too much minding of people's business. Every time we talk about politics, what tends to happen is you ask a person a question about their political views, and they always got a cool-ass, sassy-ass rebuttal on why not. But we're trying to figure out what is and what should be based on you like. If you ever notice, they start asking these guys, these journalists, and what do they want and what do they think, they're always talking about what they want for other people. They never simply say what it is that they believe in and what they would like to see. You have to bend them and twist them and, trap them and stack them and figure out, hey, man, what it is that you're asking for the government. And then once we get a tally of that and look at the percentage of people that are asking for that, then those are the priority issues. Those are the political issues that should be going first in priority based on majority. Okay? We have a presidential democracy, right, where we elect an executive to be the head of the country, right? And then we obviously elect our senators in our lawmaking branch directly, right? We go directly to those elections and those polls to get our senators and that represents the states and get the representative that represents each one of the zones and districts so that they can kind of survey those districts, whether you zone 2 or zone 3, zone 4, 5, 6, right? And then that person should be touchable and, in the schools around. How many of you see your House of Representatives in your neighborhood, right? Not too many. I'm not even talking about the senator or the governor or even necessarily the mayor. I'm just asking how many of you see the representative for your zone. You say, for example, you stay in District 2 or Zone 2. How many of you see your House of Representatives, your House of Rep members? You don't hardly see that person. They everywhere else but in their fucking district. They everywhere else but in their goddamn zone. Okay? So these are the things that are the issues in the politics. And then when we start combing through and then we get to the national election and we start getting into a situation with this Donald Trump versus Joe Biden. Let's make this clear. We got two parties that are popular. We got more than one party. We just tend to lean toward Democrats and we tend to lean toward Republicans. But before Republicans had even been established, 16 presidents later, there was other parties. Federalists, anti-federalists, being nonpartisan is a position, is a part of being a party. Nonpartisan is an option. Federalists, anti-federalists, and the Whigs, right? And we have the Green Party you guys have heard about, and you've heard about different third parties and independent parties, so forth and so on. You guys understand that there are a multitude of options that you can, look into, vote for, get behind, and push. But right now, what we're pushing is Democrat versus Republican. Because most people want to keep the drama and the mess going. They'll say on face, oh, no, man, I'm tired of that. No, you're not. People like the fact that Biden's on stage stumbling, bumbling, and fumbling, giving out chicken sandwiches at the polls, putting out commercials with transgenders in there, stripping up and down the pole as a double entendre on get down to the polls. I know you guys saw the commercials. Yes, you saw the commercials. We're not going to play like you didn't, okay? Well, at least for sure, I saw. They was giving out watermelon and grape soda at the polls, trying to get people down there, free chicken biscuits and shit like that. I mean, that's cool. I get it. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to give the community things, but that's pandering. That's the true definition of what they consider to be pandering. Or maybe it's not. I ain't saying people don't like chicken sandwiches and watermelon and grape soda and soul food and strippers and transsexuals stripping up and down the pole, and then you tell them to get down to the pole. That's what was being displayed when Biden was running. They actually literally had strippers in commercials where strippers was jumping up and down on the pole, and they were saying, get down to the polls and vote, trying to be cute, trying to drop a metaphor. And then they come to find out the people had done research, even with those strippers that was in that commercial or that advertisement paid for by Biden, there was transgenders in there. Okay? See, so it's a lot of shade being utilized in politics. Now, is that an indictment on somebody's lifestyle? No, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about being used as a pawn based on your social positioning. Okay? And a lot of people should come out of that or not. Do whatever you want to do. You grown, see, it is what it is. But if you want to see change, you got to make sure that you put in that change. You know what I'm saying? So this is my thought process. I'm going to tell you right now. Democratic Party has already historically been on record for being a slave-driving political party for African Americans. I'm not talking about nobody else. I'm just talking about for African Americans. This is the party that kept niggas in chains, kept niggas beat, whipped, broken, molested, downtrodden, sodomized, exploited, all the horrific things that we know about slavery. Okay? So a party of that nature will never really see my vote as often as whatever the opposition is. Now, does that suggest that, could Democratic representation be good at times? Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I get it. That was the past. Sometimes you gotta, let things go. But you can't just forget shit, right? We can't just forget it. We just gotta know that party has a tendency of saying that they want to do a lot of stuff for minorities in particular, okay, and not delivering at all. And not only do they not deliver, they deliver exactly what they say they're going to give to black people and minorities to somebody else every time. The money that they sent to Ukraine, I get it. You got to have, policies abroad. You got to make sure you do check your boxes off abroad. That is not what I'm suggesting. You always want to make sure things are secure. You know what I'm saying? You want to make sure you check and balance things through and through. Okay. But at the end of the day, that money that was sent to Ukraine could have been used to give reparations to black folks. Kamala Harris already stated in her interviews that she's not just going to do that for black folks. She's going to try to do something for some other people or whatever the case may be. I don't know what her line of thinking was. It just wasn't really clear. Okay. But she ran on Sister Girl and Black Magic. Black Girl Magic. That's what she ran on. She did run it. Everybody knows that she ran on being the first woman of color, which is a trick word, trick language, because she didn't necessarily say black. Some people did use it for her interchangeably, but she said the first woman of color to be, selected and elected as vice president. You know what I'm saying? Which is supposed to be historical, but we all know that she's Indian and she comes from one of the highest classes from India. And she's from that class of Indian descent through her mother that is high on a totem pole in the caste and class system that they hold in India. She wasn't an untouchable. The black people in India that's placed on the bottom, that's only equipped to do the jobs of trash men, that only do the job of handling the dead, and they're considered to be just foul and untouchable people, and the classes don't mix. She's at the top of that. She's from the Brahmin class. So she's not even black. She's Asian. India is a part of Asia. I don't know why people seem to just like distort that a lot, but that's cool. There's no problem. To me, she's the first Asian woman, to be elected to vice president. That's a good thing for Asians. You know what I'm saying? And people that are native to India, the country. It's a great job for them. Salute to them. But she ran under a false or shady perspective that she was a black soul sister, getting it out the mud from the South or from the North or from the West. And, she could understand the plight of the sister girls. And that just was not the case. That just wasn't true. But nevertheless, she made it, her and Biden, and they in there, and it is what it is. So, just looking at the Democratic Party, that's my problem with them across the board, on top of the slavery and the willful holding of people and possessing people's bodies. The Democratic Party has a history of perverse invasion of people's personal and private space. The Democratic Party, even with slavery, had a lot of perverse actions. It's not that the Democratic Party held slaves. It's just that it was a lot of rape and murder and weird shit that was going on that the slave masters and slave holders were dumping on the slaves. It wasn't just working and free labor. There's a disgusting social part and aspect of dehumanization that comes with that, because Democrat, Confederate, Southerners, slaveholders had this thing where they was over intrusive into black women's spaces, black men's spaces, black children's spaces, and black people as a whole spaces. And now in the neo-slavery movement, which is today, niggas are not shackled by chains around their neck and their feet. It's more so in the mind, hence the name neo-slavery. They're still doing it. They're still doing it with being over intrusive into women's health, women's body, and trying to sell them on manners of perversion that may not be conducive for Earth as a whole. Black women are the creators in the shell of life. Okay? We already understand the power of the black woman and the power of black women and their ability to give birth to beautiful nature. The diversity in their ability to reproduce and procreate as women. And then here we go with the Democrats trying to sell that very force, that very powerful entity, as in the black woman and her ability to create, to probably, hey, do the opposite. But we'll leave it up to you. Do the opposite. Be against your nature. Now, that's your choice. Because I do believe in this. I do believe in embodying certain principles, and I do understand that other bodies embodies other principles. If you ask the question between pro-gun and anti-gun and regulations, no, my gun, my choice, just as it would be your body, your choice. That ain't my business, right? But that ain't going to spill over into something else. It ain't going to spill over into my liberty. So, for example, I can have all the guns I want. It don't matter what you think about guns. It don't matter if you have a fear for guns or not. As long as I'm not committing crimes or in violation or mishandling that tool, and I'm competent with that tool, and I have a proper place and safety precautions and a handle on guns, which personally I do, then you shouldn't have any issues with how many guns I have. I don't give a damn if I got a bazooka down in the basement. It ain't your business, right? Just like A woman has the right to her own body and to make the moves that she want to make with her bodies. Hey, if I don't like it, just make sure that when I'm on a dating field, if I'm in a dating scene and I'm looking to start a family, that needs to be discussed and that needs to be articulated between me and that woman in a private practice. Okay? And if she is into pro-life, which is her choice, then me and her may have something in common. If she's into pro-choice as a young man and a person that is a citizen, we agree and have a social contract between each other with that understanding. It's not that hard. We don't need to spend too much time on guns and abortions. That should be a easy issue to resolve. We shouldn't be spending too much time on people's sexual practices. If you like to wear dresses, regardless of who you is, then you wear dresses. You just know you can't force nobody else on no dress, right? If you like to wear makeup, then you can wear makeup, but you're not gonna force makeup on nobody else's face. If you don't like to wear makeup, you can't go around slapping people in the face that got makeup and stripping them down. If you don't like to wear dresses, you can't then go around snatching everybody with a dress, just snatching them down. You cannot do that. Because one thing I know about stuff that's real and stuff that's fake, when you step back off something that's fake, it ends up eating itself alive. You ain't even got to say that. You ain't got to mill at it. You ain't got to talk on it. You ain't got to poke at it. You ain't got to pick at it. Just stand by, stand back, and be who the fuck you supposed to be. And chill out and relax and live your life to the best of your ability based on the Constitution and your civil liberties, your civil rights, and the social contract that we have struck in with the government. And our peers, and our neighbors, our brethren, and our sisters. It's not that hard. It's not that difficult. So if you find yourself always engaging into something that's non-productive because you oppose certain people's views or certain people's ideologies, then you might be going in the wrong direction. You may be trending in the wrong direction. Figure out how to build up your political ideology and base with your family and your peers and your friends and the people that are like-minded. Find the people that are most likely in your tribe that are like-minded. We spend too much time on trying to figure out who real and who fake. We spend too much time trying to figure out who can we pick with for the day, and we spend too much time trying to figure out who is in opposition to us and let's go fuck with them. There's no need to do that. There's no reason. So a lot of these positions are created to keep people divided and keep the nation divided and keep people entertained with controversy. A lot of the mudslinging, I get it. That's a political tactic that has been, used for a while. But I'm just not a big advocate of mudslinging. Talk about the good things that you can do and keep on pushing and focus on the people and give the people what they want. My favorite branch is the executive. Yes, I do like the judicial branch, law interpretation, but I'm not a lawyer. Okay. Yes, I love lawmaking, but I just don't feel like I would like that as much as the executive, because lawmaking, the only thing they gotta do is go to the people. The people gonna make the laws. The lobbyists is gonna make the laws. And as long as the laws don't step over somebody else's toes, then we good to go. The executive branch is, to me, the most important and potent branch to a degree, because it brings balance to the law interpretation and the lawmaking, all the way down to the state levels, and keeping peace. The president should be acting as a father or a big uncle of the nation, or a big brother. It's the executive. And my problem with Trump and the Republicans is they spend too much time wagging their fingers at people as opposed to just doing what they know to do right. If you're God-fearing and you're pro-gun and you're pro-life, then just mingle in with the people that's pro-life and just watch the people that you consider to be degenerate. Let them do their thing. As long as it don't spill over to your neighborhoods and into your community, and there's peace and there's a working relationship between the two. If people got green hair and purple hair and you're not with that because you just want a clean haircut, a good schoolboy, nice, clean perception of yourself, then go ahead and do that. But you don't need to spend too much time as a Republican, in my opinion, going around wagging your finger at libertarians, constitutionalists, the Green Party, centrists, leftists. You don't need to spend all time doing that, because if you truly are conservatives in nature, then you can walk with your head up high with a certain level of confidence that some may consider to be arrogant, but it's just you being you. Donald Trump is not a true Republican. He can be best described as a populist. He just went through the Republican Party. He already told you guys that he used to be a Democrat, and he's called out all the people that used to love him when he was a Democrat. And somehow he grew into the Donald Trump that we know now, and then he is a Republican in name only, in my opinion. So the guy's more so of a populist, and that is cool. That is what it is. But right now, we've had a good package of 4 years with Donald Trump and COVID, and we've had 4 years here coming shortly with Joe Biden. And we got to pick which one makes the most common sense for you as a person that votes. And I'm telling you right now, for me, it's real simple. It ain't really nothing to talk about. It ain't really nothing to guess. I just don't like the fact that they sent money to Ukraine after promising people better conditions and more money and more closing the wealth gap that they're so concerned about, that the Democrats harp on. But one thing that could have probably closed that wealth gap is if you hadn't sent money to the Ukrainians, okay, over $55-something billion at this point, you could have put that back into the programs that you say you was going to use to serve your people, all those social programs. Now you got Bernie Sanders going around and people giving him a hard time about a 32-hour work week because Americans are burnt out and they need more vacation time. They need this, they need that. And I get what he's trying to say. But I just say, if you're going to do a 4-day work week, just do 10 hours, 10 hours, 10 hours, 10 hours, get you a 30-minute, and then you guarantee to get you 2 15s. Okay, just like with an 8-hour. I mean, I've been in leadership all my life, so I know how the manual works, right? You know what I'm saying? From the Navy all the way into the private sector, into the civilian world, I've been in leadership. So I understand, you 8 hours, you get your 30 minutes and you get a 15. Well, just bump it up. Maybe you get a 40. If you do 10 hours, maybe you get a 45 and a 15. It is what it is. You see what I'm saying? And then you get off and you have Friday, Saturday, Sunday off, and then rotate the people around who want to do the opposite. Somebody might want to work Friday because that's cool. Shoot, you work Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday, and you off Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? So it's room to work. So I do understand what Bernie Sanders is trying to say, but his logic and his ideology is just not all the way there. It's not resonating with the people. Because here's another thing, man. There's too many old men talking and a lot of young men dying. Too many old women talking now, because I got to make sure we be fair and balanced. Old women talking and young women dying. These baby boomers got to relinquish this power. And we got to roll this down to the Generation X, the millennials, and the Gen Zs, because the Gen Zs are grown now. They're adults. So we got to get these boomers onto the twilight of their life and get them onto a position where they can enjoy the rest of their seniorhood and relinquish this power, because they're making policies that's based on a motherfucker in a leather jacket in a 1954 goddamn GTO. We're not there no more, man. We're not there. We're not walking around with a pack of cigarettes rolled up in our sleeves. These policies are Cold War policies. The Dwight D. Eisenhower is not around no more. Reagan is not around no more. RIP to those Republican presidents. Okay? Lyndon Baines, like that era is over. People sitting at the lunch counter and we trying to get back into this thing where we all these marches and all these symbolic gestures over nothing, over private practices is getting really pretty much out of hand, and it frankly could be a waste of time. It doesn't solve any political problems amongst us as people and us as humans. It serves no political purpose, no political footing, no political progression, no political gains. We're regressing because we don't understand how liberty works. Because this is how it works in a sedentary society. We're not nomads. So in a nomadic society, Okay, we would move east, west, north, south. Everybody would kind of stick with their family. You'll keep what you kill. You'll move and travel and pack up everything, and you'll migrate left, right, up, down, wherever the food is at. That's the basis of it. You say, hey, man, I got a family of 10. I got a group of 10. I got a village. I got a community. And this is what we do. We live off the land, and we move with, obviously, the weather, because, obviously, the bison and the animals and the game would move with the weather, right? Based on what grass is available, what water has receded, based on nature, based on environmental stuff, basic geography, right? Basic environmental science and geography, right? That's what we would be doing, right? But we don't have that, okay? We have a sedentary society where we are under the contract, a social contract, where we say, hey, we want governance. Now, we know we don't want a monarchy because we already went through that. So America already established that ain't going to work right there, right? The Bible and a whole bunch of other ancient different types of governments have existed well before America. So America has pulled all those trials and tribulations to form the Constitution and the current government that we have. That's the style. But the overall underlying thing before the Constitution is even written, there's an understanding that there's a social contract between the civilians and the people who will be elected, or how they're elected or chosen to govern. And one of those things that's getting overlooked, I was telling one of my boys, Smoke, I was telling Smoke today, is that the government should be providing food. That's one thing that we should be looking at. We're spending all this money over into foreign aid, and we keep printing up money, giving it to everybody else. The whole globe is making us pay for things that within NATO and all these other small projects that have nothing to do with us domestically to a degree, right? So many people owe us money. That's one thing that I do like about Trump. He was going to get our money back and say, hold on, man, this budget is off a little bit, whether you like him or not. Do I like Trump? No, he's all right. But his language is what's killing him. If he said things with more charisma, it wouldn't even be close between him and Biden. He just want to be on record of keeping it real, saying it 100. He want to do all that boastful talking, and he want to go down in the history books with a whole bunch of catchphrases and the fact that he told it how he was, and he's getting too caught up in shaking down the political infrastructure, which I can understand to a degree, because he already told us that Hillary Clinton and the previous Democrats and the previous people in office and the previous parties that was in office allowed him to take advantage of loopholes. So essentially, if he's considered to be a monster, or whoever's considered to be a monster, or whoever's considered to be uncomfortable on the platform or at the podium, has been created by this very society of people that has polluted and corrupted the system. So Donald Trump is a representation of manifest corruption in a walking, talking, speaking form. No one will ever go back to talking like, hey, my name is Chuck. I desire to run for president. Hey, I want to kiss and hold your babies. And as your president, I promise no one's ever going to talk like that again. So if you think we're going back to that, that's over with. It's over with. The way Kennedy and Reagan and Lyndon Baines Johnson, the way they talked and articulated themselves was kind of on the radical side. Then we got a slew of presidents that could talk with a little bit more charisma. Then Bill Clinton playing the saxophone. You already saw this type of style of president being built up and approaching. No one's ever going to go back to be talking in rhythms and with that presidential cadence. Well, one day we stand up as a nation, and then I just tell you, no one talking like that no more, man. This ain't nobody talking like Martin Luther King no more. No one talking about FDR no more. The only thing to fear is fear itself. Don't ask what your nation can do for you, but what can you do for your nation? Nobody's talking like that no more, man. It's straight up to the point, big facts, shut the hell up, back the fuck up, give me 50 feet, what it is, what it ain't. People talking real. because that jargon is outdated. That's baby boomers grew up on that. We millennials, we didn't grow up on that. We grew up on Tupac, rap, all kind of stuff, man. Saturday morning cartoons, a lot of liberal kind of talking points and a lot of conservative talking points. We ain't there no more. So the type of politics that we playing is straight up real. But no one has compassion or charisma to do it. Everybody's they're invested in their own self-interest. Understandable, human nature. But based on the sedentary society that we live in, okay, there's a social contract between us and the governing body. And there's an obligation to keep a balance between the two, a civility between the two. And the government job is to make sure that you don't have to worry about chasing food all day and not having shelter, and to provide you with safe means, comfortable means, so that you can sit in one spot and raise a family in peace and then contribute to the very system that people claim are corrupt. But it's the people who corrupt the system. That thought process is not corrupt. The people who are in it is corrupt. Because by design, sitting here, raising a family, contributing to society and helping humanity out and helping others out is a good deal. And the government should be providing a military force. So all this nonsense about reducing military, not having enough knowledge about the military, that's over with. You need a strong military to provide these safeties. Or you'll find yourself with an empire on your doorstep trying to run through the Pacific and bomb Hawaii again. Because people have their own self-interest in mind. You know this through history. Ask Christopher Columbus and how that worked out for the Americas in the first place. In Central America, in Brazil, and the African Americans that was enslaved and impeded upon by the same people in the same country that gave them away to white folks and the Europeans in the first place. Because people served their best interests. Africa gave away black people for guns and cotton. White folks couldn't even step foot in Africa because of the yellow fever and the malaria. They didn't have the immunities. We can't play like we superior and they're not superior. We superior in every way because that's where life originates from. We're diverse in every way. You can find the tallest people or the shortest people, the smartest people or the dumbest people. Europeans could not set foot in Africa to attain and trick and pull off slaves. They had to be met on the coast with the Africans that were enslaving and capturing their own people to do business in what we call the coast factories. So the history is misconstrued. So my point of saying that is not to indict Africa or Africans or Europeans, period. It is to say and suggest that the military and security is the basic foundation of the social contract of a sedentary society. That's what I'm telling you. And food should be presented to all. That's how that go. That's how that's work in the game of politics. And you got Charlemagne the God, you got Candace Owens, you got Ben Shapiro, you got Donald Trump, you got Hillary Clinton, you got AOC. They all are fumbling and doing a disservice. None of us don't like none of them. To be honest with you, none of us like none of them. None of us like none of them. It is true that we are picking the lesser of the two evils. It's true. And they don't find no offense with that because they're corrupt. So the solution is to give the power back to the people. That's the goal. That's the purpose. To be educated and well informed. For it to be truthful. If you fuck up and you make a mistake, just be honest with the people. It happens. Most of you not going to jail anyway because you have immunity. And we understand that it's a big job. So why are we botching shit in Benghazi? Why are we getting people killed? Hillary Clinton? What are we doing? Stuff is unnecessary. You know, you could get a piece of your pie too. I don't have a problem with the rich getting rich. Keep getting rich. But it can't be at the expense of people. There has to be a set of rules and boundaries in place. And they are there, but it's the people that are corrupt, spiritually and socially and morally. That's the problem. Don't tell me it's the Constitution. Constitution don't say nothing about slavery. It's white people who decided to hold and trade niggas. It is Africa who decided to participate in the Atlantic slave trade. That ain't got nothing to do with the Constitution. That ain't got nothing to do with the judicial branch. That is people who want to serve their best interest. It don't matter if this shit was around or not. Before the Constitution was even written, people was busting each other's heads over land. The Indians and the Europeans were fighting. Don't change anything. Like the system before people were going to school, people were still killing and having sex and slinging drugs and killing each other. So it ain't the school system. It ain't the police system. And it ain't the military. It's people. Well, let's stop blaming the system. Look at the system for what it is, but watch these people. Because most of them are snakes. That's what the problem is. Double talking, venom spitting, fork tongue politicians that don't deserve your vote nor the power that they have, nor the privilege, because it's a privilege to govern people. It should be one of the highest honors as a human being to be officially elected by your peer groups as a person that they say, I want you to lead and I want you to speak for us while we go to work and enjoy our families. We want you to do that. We want you to worry about that. We want you to focus on that. And let me give you the list on what I want you to do. That's what you're signing up for when you get into politics, man. You are a public fucking servant. If you don't want to be that, go fucking play football. Play the flute. Go debate at Yale somewhere else, but stay off the politics. But that's why we have choices. That's why Donald Trump is so popular. Because he is the spawn of the baby boomer inability to relinquish and pass power and to teach the young boys, these young boys and these young princesses, how to be better people, how to best serve these countries. And they've done somewhat of a disservice to the younger generation, Gen Z and the millennials. And they've completely destroyed and victimized Generation X. So now a full indictment on neither generation, but it's something to look at. I don't want to be a 70-year-old man downtrodden on the next two generations. I would like to imagine that, hey man, I feel safe in your hands. Let's give these young boys and young princesses a chance. Relinquish the power peacefully. Donald Trump is an example of all the baby boomers. He just articulate and vocal about it. Hillary Clinton don't want to give up power either. Bernie Sanders don't want to give up power either. None of them do. Donald Trump is just radical enough to express it. Man, we get these two guys out of here. Trump make it, it'll be his last time to run. Biden, God rest his soul. I hope his mind is, I wish him great health, great wealth, and sending this guy on into retirement. He's done enough for politics for a long time, for a long while, and he's capped it off with the highest office in the land. He's done what he had to do. Enough is enough. Just sit back, relinquish power, let it go. Donald Trump, you get in there, you're vibrant, cap this baby boomer shit off, man. We need to find somebody else. We got to find somebody else because this is not working no more. I don't know how that's going to transition between the boomers and Xers, but I know the millennials, it's got to be somebody else. It's over with. I don't want to live in a country. I don't want to be in the history books as, I don't want to be like Rome. I don't want to be like Egypt when it fell. Do you guys know what it's like to be in a, do you guys know what it's like? It's one thing to be in a developing country. They don't call them third worlds now, but a developing country. For those who don't know, third world is like disrespectful. But in a developing country, that's all right. That's kind of tight and uncomfortable. But you don't want to be in an empire or a corporation or a nation that is on a verge of collapsing. You don't want to be on that side of history. I don't want to be in a nation like that. I don't want to be a part of something that is collapsing. Can you imagine being in Germany, World War II, and you at the top, and all of a sudden stuff started going wrong, a couple of bad decisions, because somebody that you elected or that whoever seized power, he decided to get greedy and overzealous, and then now everything collapsing. Soviet Union during the Cold War, race to space. You want to be in there when the Soviet Union collapsed, then get whooped on by in Afghanistan, and start looking like a fool on the world stage? You don't want to be there. You want to? Can you imagine being in Japan when the empire starts to fall and both bombs got dropped on Nagasaki and Hiroshima? You think you want to be a part of? You wish you was a part of a developing country. You don't want, the worst thing you could be a part of is a collapsing country or nation. Real time. It ain't good. People start dying. The hospitals get filled up. Things get clogged up real bad. You ain't gonna have to worry about no plumbing. You ain't gotta worry about your house no more. You ain't gonna have to worry about no car note no more. Things start to get bad, real bad. You don't want to be in a civilization, and I don't want to write in the history books, sign my name to that shit. I don't want to live through that. And these baby boomers have to relinquish this power. Donald Trump and Biden, we need to get them two on out the way. Let them eat on the last bit. Let this be a great representation of the transfer and the seizing of millennials getting involved, maybe possibly Generation X and these Gen Zs, these young boys and these young princesses coming up. But these policies, these personal issues, these interpersonal political issues, these interpersonal issues, don't allow them to blind you and fool you. Gen Z, millennials, Generation X, I can't say nothing. You know, we look up to y'all. Y'all do what it is y'all got to do. Y'all closer to the baby boomers than I am. But millennials, that shit is over with for us. It's time for somebody else. We sitting here, we 44 years old. We 43, 42, 40, 41, 30. You know what I'm saying? So listen, here's the bottom line. Constitution is a perfectly written document. Second best to the 10 Commandments. Don't allow these politicians to play mind tricks on you with personal issues. and bringing them forward as if though they're a priority. Yes, global economics is important. Global stability and a strong military presence is absolutely important. That military presence doesn't have to be force. It can be peacekeeping. It don't always have to be peacemaking. It can be peacekeeping. It can be humanitarian in nature. We can provide aids to these developing countries. We can do right by these countries. We're going to play police. We might as well play police the right way to protect and serve. We always forget that that's one of the jobs of the policeman is to protect and serve and to keep balance and keep peace and to deter criminality, not to seek it out and agitate it and trick people into it. We don't need to be making and meeting quotas. This is my thought process. Me, I am Second Amendment heavy. I am pro-gun. The reason I am pro-gun and I always be is because of two things. For an example, it is very practical, hypothetically. Let's say intergalactically, right? We run into some aliens and they drop down out the sky. At least our civilians here in the United States have the opportunity to protect themselves. Let's just say another country were to try to invade us. It would be very, very difficult because American citizens have guns. That's an inherent protection that everybody has to account for when they decide or if they think about intruding or invading America. So you cannot physically strong arm America and its citizens because we have guns. So that means the guns are and for tyrannical governments, domestic and foreign. So we will always need that. That just make practical sense. Whether you like guns or not, it's cool. We want citizens to be able to call to arms from tyrannical governments, not just for America. Everybody think it's just something about America, and that's an over-exaggeration. It's for any country that may want to impede on America. We just have been fortunate enough to where we don't have to worry about that. But don't think that it ain't something that can't happen. And even if something, I mean, deeper than that, let's say some intergalactic force people believe in aliens and other life force. I mean, you never know what can happen, man. A portal could open one day and there be some aliens at our front door. We want to have them guns and those projectiles to at least protect ourselves. Not saying it's going to be effective or efficient. I'm just telling you, you want that as opposed to not. The border, I say this about the border. I say that for the next one. Zone 6, I'm out.
Break it down. Give me